Yeah, okay, then let's get started. So, welcome to the first working group meeting for this year. Let's go over the items from the last meeting. So, the GCP Cloud config update had already been merged into Bubble. A new release was available. There was still a problem that outgoing requests were somewhat slow, and after some digging in the GCP documentation, we found out that you should enable dynamic port allocation because, well, this gives you more ports if there are lots of outgoing requests. So I filed a small pull request for, Dave is joining, a small pull request for Bosch bootloader where dynamic port allocation is enabled by default, and luckily this has also been released. Note, however, that this cannot be enabled together with endpoint independent mapping. So this had to be disabled manually for some Cloud NAT gateways, but now, okay, with the new Bubble release, everything is fine. So tests run as fast as before, and we can clean up some abandoned external IP addresses, and yeah, things are fine. So, hi Dave, Happy New Year. I hope you had a good time. You're still muted. Okay.
Hey everyone, Happy New Year. Sorry about that. Still getting the gremlins out of the machine, but that's okay. Yeah, time off was good.
Okay.
But yeah, back at it.
Good. Glad to hear. Will Carson join too? I think he's still. Oh,
I have not heard from him this week, so I'm not sure.
okay, good. Then let's continue. We just go over last time's items. FIPS stem cell validation. So we are making some progress here. The Bosch deployment is now finally green. So UAA, CredHub, and one other release had to fix their starting scripts. That was more or less trivial, adapting some OpenSSL commands, and now we at least have a working Bosch release, so that is fine. But nevertheless, CF push is still failing because some digest cannot be initialized. That's the error we see at the moment. And yeah, the copy developers are already working on that and replacing MD5 with something else. And yeah, in one of the next copy release, we hopefully get a working CF push, and then we will see what comes next.
Yep, I guess for copy, this will require a number of major releases because we have to ensure that first Diego adapts and yeah, the configuration is correct so that we do not have downtimes during update.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, so we will have to watch both releases and decide when to cut a major release. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. So then, Dave, you proposed to trigger the FIPS validation for a release candidate. Well, that was simple. I just updated the pipeline. To really trigger the pipeline, we have to release the log manually from time to time. Otherwise, this won't work because the log is usually only released when the tests pass. But yeah, okay, this should be acceptable for now. I'm watching the pipeline and triggering it from time to time.
The reason we architected the regular pipelines that way was so that we could debug the environment. do you actually look at the environment when things fail to see why they're failing, or do you just say, oh, okay, they're still working on something and it's not ready yet, and release it? Because if
So
if that's the case, then you could set it up to automatically release regardless of whether it passes or not, just so that you get the feedback.
yeah, I think we could do that. Yeah. So when the Bosch deployment failed, you have to log on to Bosch and check the Bosch start script logs to understand what's happening. But here it's actually clear from the test output what is failing. So yes, indeed, we could release the log in both cases if it fails or succeeds.
Right.
That would be an idea. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, just if you want to get the more continuous feedback.
Yeah. Okay. Well, can do. Good. CF deployment was read because of the Bosch links in Diego release and Garden Run C release. This is not an issue for us anymore, so they are reworking this and using regular Bosch job properties to configure the container numbers. So yeah, this is and you do not get the automatic data link between Garden and Diego. So I don't know what they are doing, but it's I think not anymore our concern. News from the talk: inactive users will be removed. Well, yeah, there is an open pull request, this one here, which will delete a bunch of inactive users.
Several hundred, actually.
What?
Several hundred, actually.
Several hundreds. Yeah. So, well, I quickly checked. It's no one from our working group. We still have those 3 users which seem to be inactive, but not inactive in the Cloud Foundry org. So, yeah. This would then be a manual decision if we remove inactive users from the working group. Okay. Wait, yeah, Windows Server 2016. I did not get any feedback, so I will shortly start working on removing that stack from CF deployment. And yeah, well, that should be easy. Okay. Now we had, as you've seen in the channel, there are some problems with KP 168. It contains a DB migration, which could fail. So yeah, we are working on a fix, and now we've marked all the releases containing KP 168 as better do not use, and wait for the next version. Yeah, okay. There are some more incompatibilities upcoming. The routing release removes some outdated endpoints, so this also would have to be released as incompatible. So whoever cuts the next releases, be a bit careful. It could so here routing 286. They announced that there are incompatible changes. So yes, be a bit careful with the next releases. Okay, so then Stefan, you had a topic.
Yeah, we had one issue that comes from the KP Open Office Hour. We had some trouble with certain DB migrations as well. And we found out that the supported databases, MySQL especially in certain flavors, for instance, doesn't support table logs, and they were used and it failed. And then we discussed how to document the supported databases, and the result was, well, we should not do this in Kapi, but it should be done in CF deployment because there are more databases, not just the cloud controller, also UAA and Diego, etc. And yeah, the idea that we had was to somehow in the README of CF deployment, or don't know where's the best place, to document at least which database systems and flavors are supported by CF deployment, and maybe also which are known not to be supported. So MariaDB, for instance, is not supported. And yeah, don't know where to do it best, but I could propose a PR and then we can work on it. And the tricky thing is a bit, what do we actually write in? I mean, simply saying it is supported. Is Postgres 9.6 still supported? Yes, no, maybe. Or what I would maybe just document what we test in those pipelines. So if we test the current, I don't know, Postgres 15 or 16, I don't know what it is via the Bosch release, and I would write this in. And we could write in that we would expect that it works also for, I don't know, down to 11 or whatever is a good range. I have no idea yet. And the same then for MySQL and this, how is it, this PXC or PCX Bosch release that uses Percona XtraDB, and because that has really some limitations. And once we have this list, then we could decide also for cloud controller if we want to test a few more database systems, or at least we have a guidance which features we can use and which not. So this piece of documentation is currently missing, unless it is somewhere hidden where I didn't find it.
Yeah, so I don't think we have documentation for that at all. So what I can do, of course, is create a list of database systems that we are currently testing. So it should be Bosch managed Postgres, I don't know, almost the latest version. Bosch deployed MySQL cluster, and we have, I think this is the only external one we are testing. This is also yeah, MySQL 8.0 deployed on GCP. This is tested in one of the scenarios. And yeah, well, that's it.
Yeah.
So we don't test any different versions. It's just the latest version that we think is good enough or that is available. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I don't know, probably we from SAP have some opinions on Postgres, also which versions we are still using, and could write this in because we hope that it's still working. And I guess Broadcom has some ideas about which MySQL versions are in use, and then I think it's rather safe to write them in, or at least the intention that we want to support them, because yeah, realistically we cannot break them, and that's also clear. Just to give some guidance, but if there's an ancient MySQL version, we can also say this is not, this is out of support because it's not used anymore.
Yep.
Okay, I guess I could propose something, and then together with Jochen, yeah, we'll come up with a PR, and then can ask for the different teams that have stakes in the databases for comments, and then we have it in, and then it's good.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, I guess we don't want to start to test different database versions.
No. It's not the idea to expand the scope. It's just to document what we know, what is there. Nothing, no hidden agendas.
No, okay. Good. So just some documentation. Okay. Yeah, so that's everything from my side. Anything else?
Nope, nothing on my end.
Okay. Then that would be all for today. Then we now meet again regularly again in 2 weeks. So then have a nice evening or a nice day.
Thank you.
And see you again
See you.
soon.
Yep,
Bye-bye.
see you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. See you soon.